In this video we are going to see how to create and use a table layout panel control. A table layout panel control is simply a panel control that provides a table layout. When you say table layout, that means it has a grid layout where there are columns and there are rows. So now question comes, why would you want to use this control? Would you want to use this panel? The main advantage or use of this panel is, let's say you have a very complex user interface or very complex form where you have a bunch of input controls. For example, you are trying to get information about a customer where you have a name, address, zip code, location, city, country, and bunch of other controls, and they are laid out in a same row, and then you want to resize and reposition them at the same times without going each one control at a time. So that's where this panel control comes in picture. So you will see more in this video. By the time we are done finishing this video, you will see how useful this control can be. Again, there is nothing much. This is just a panel container control where purpose of this control is to just place bunch of children control on top of it, and then have them resize without spending too much time. So let's get started. So what you do is drag and drop a table layout panel from your toolbox to onto the form. As soon as you drag and drop a table layout panel onto the form, you will see the default action items are listed in this task list. So as you can see, there's an add column, add row, remove last column, remove last row, edit rows and columns. So by default your panel has actually 2 rows and 2 columns. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add add one more column, add 2 more rows. As you can see, size of this is still same, so I'm going to actually add one more row. Now you can also edit these rows and columns. So if you click on edit rows and columns, you can see you can also define the percentile of these columns, like how much percentage you want to be. Everything you can decide from here. So column 1, I say I want 30%, say auto size 30%. I want column 2 to 30%, and then column 3 to 40%. You can also add more columns from here, delete and insert. Okay, and you can also actually select rows from here, and then as you can see, size for rows, you can also select size for rows. Say okay. So now one other thing you want to do is, once you're once you know how many rows and how many columns your layout is going to have, what you do is now you can start actually placing controls in these cells. That's the whole purpose of this panel. And by the way, you can also set other properties of the panel. So if you go to properties window, you can set other properties like any other control, say background, foreground, background image. You can also set column count. You can go to columns, add columns from here as well, which is same thing we did from tasks, where it's going to open the column and row styles. So that said, besides doing all these standard properties, the main purpose of this panel is to decide how many rows and columns your user interface, your form and controls are going to have. So let's close this for now. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to place a bunch of controls. Say I'm going to place button 1, I'm going to actually make it larger, this thing. Say button 2, button 3, button 4, button 5. Now as you can see, if I can resize these right there, and let's say if I want to, there you go, Now I'm going to do is say add where is my text box? Text box 1, text box 2, text box 3, text box 4, text box 5. Now I'm going to also add say this. Now this is a perfect example where I have say these 15 controls, and now I want to make sure all these text boxes, all these rich text boxes, all these buttons, they are aligned, and they are perfectly aligned the same position from left side and top. And what I only have to do is I just use this panel, and it's this resize grip to resize. See, as you can see, if I go change the width of the column, it also changes the width of the button control. So as you can see, by resizing this whole panel, I actually am resizing all these 15 controls. Imagine where you have like say a user interface where you have 40-50 controls. So instead of going to each and every control and positioning them one by one, what you're going to do is you can create a panel, this table layout panel, or you can also have multiple panels. You can even have another child table layout panel within a table layout panel. So based on this panel, it basically helps you, saves a lot of time to resize and reposition these bunch of controls. Now if you run this application, what you will see, you'll see nothing. Table is just transparent, so there's nothing really, but you can see everything is aligned perfectly. So I hope you learned from this tutorial that this table layout panel can be really useful when designing complex user interfaces where you have a lot of actually bunch of controls, and you want to align them and position them quickly.